Well, hey, everybody. I wanted to come in before today's episode of the podcast to let you know, did you know that if you want to watch this episode, then you can do that by just going to our Patreon, because it is available to watch for free to celebrate the fact that we have launched a brand new tier, which we're calling Watch All This Then. It's really hard for me not to laugh while we're doing this, because something is happening right now, which if you're just listening, you wouldn't know. But if you go over and watch this episode,
watch
again,
all
over
this
on our,
then.
Watch all this then.
Watch all this then.
You'll be able to get, you'll simply be able to get the full picture, won't you, Libby?
Yeah, I think so. Charlotte basically covered it. You go over to watch all this. Nope, go over to What's All This Then on Patreon. What's all this then? And as Charlotte kind of hinted, there's a reason we can only do this in one take. What the fuck are you doing? It looks really crazy.
I had a really hard time with the N.
It looked like you were about to do something so bad with the N.
No.
Does.
It's just a normal N. It's just a normal N, Libby. That's all it is.
Okay. What's all this at patreon.com/what's all this then. Sign up for the Watch All This Then tier. But of course, this particular episode you'll be able to watch for free because we're giving away like a little taster to get you hooked on seeing our wonderful faces. But after that, you'll have to go to patreon.com/what's all this then. Sign up for the Watch All This Then tier to get video of both the main feed episodes and the bonus episodes where we'll be doing crazy stuff like this all the damn time.
Like this.
You'll
have to go to Patreon to see what this is. God, it's so funny. This was such a good idea. All right, enjoy the episode.
Bye.
What's all this then? What's all this then? What's Mr. B? What's a cup of tea? What's mushy pea? What's the BBC? What's all this then?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of What's All This Then? It's a podcast about the United Kingdom, with new episodes every Monday and bonus episodes every Thursday as well. In the most recent episode of What's All This Then Finest, we did another edition of the Post Box and answered a bunch of listener questions. So do take a listen to that. I mean, maybe we answered one of your questions. Who's to say? So do subscribe to the Patreon if you want to hear it. But today on the show, it's the episode you've all been waiting for.
Charlotte, you're holding a bean.
I'm holding a bean.
Charlotte's holding
Guys,
a bean.
I'm holding a bean.
Wow, we're kicking off the video episode era of sight gags with a bang here, guys. This is beautiful work, Charlotte.
Oh my
I know,
God.
right? So this is the first time we're doing video for our podcast. You'll have heard us talk about this already right at the top, but if you want to watch this episode for free, you just have to go to our Patreon, and you too can see the bean that I'm holding.
We were, I'd say, bullshitting for about, 3 to 5 minutes before we hit record over here, Charlotte. Were you holding it the whole time?
I was not holding it the whole time. No, it was just sitting on my desk.
But you
Isn't
knew
that
there was a
fun?
bean on your desk while you were talking
acutely
to us.
aware of it. Yeah.
You knew about the bean.
Mm-hmm. I'm also finding out that my trick has worked.
What's your trick?
My trick is, of course, that this is not a bean. I thought of the bit, and I didn't have any beans in the house. It is, in fact, a peanut. I'm Charlotte McDonald, and I'm joined, as always, by my wonderful co-host. It's Libby Watson.
Charlotte, I'll never trust you again.
I
know.
will say, I didn't think it looked... No, you know what? I haven't been introduced. I'll shut the fuck up.
Can I tell you what I thought it looked like? I thought it looked like a jelly bean, and I was going to ask you what flavor of jelly bean it was. I was like, ooh, is that like
Okay.
a popcorn jelly bean or something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was sort of, honestly, part of that bit, the bean bit, as it will forever be remembered, was that I was expecting you guys to question if it was a bean or not. But that didn't happen, audibly, at least.
Look, you're pretty small on my screen, and obviously I have my screen resolution set to, 300 by 800 or whatever. So that would be a really weird resolution, wouldn't it? 300 by 800? That's not right.
That's a crazy resolution.
Yeah.
Libby.
Yeah, no, there are a lot of men listening to this going, oh, that's just insane. Why would she say that?
She should make a better resolution, like go to the fucking gym.
Well, he's
A lot of
talking
people have
anyway,
been
so
saying that about me.
I will introduce our guest. I've written kind of a long one for you, Tom. You ready for this?
No.
He's a comedian,
Ah.
a Twitch streamer, co-host of the podcast BigSoftTitty.png. On his Wikipedia page, it says that he is married to fellow comedian Demi Lardner, but that a better citation for this information is needed. He's also one of the co-hosts of the upcoming season of the Great Australian Bake Off. He is the tallest man in the world. It's Tom Walker.
Hello. Thank you so much. I am indeed. And it's thrilling to move in social circles where 6'3" is essentially 6'7" to 6'10". It's really nice. I'll say, Charlotte, for my part, I also did not think it looked like a bean, but I think, and I don't know, Libby, weigh in if this is your thought as well. I thought if someone was doing a thing such as this, they clearly, I couldn't put together a world where the bit would come to mind were you not desperate out of your mind and staring at your bean.
This bean has been on my desk for so long, and I've just been thinking, what the hell am I supposed to use this bean for?
I must use my bean.
Mm-hmm. Look, I'm taking damage from this because I'm sort of thinking about how easily led I am, and how it didn't even like begin to occur to me to question that it might not be a bean. I was just like, what an odd looking bean. That was as far as I got.
I think that shows a wonderful ability to believe your co-host that there is a bean in her hands.
Yeah, I'm starting to think Charlotte could get me to do basically anything. And I'm slightly worried about that.
You've been saying that a lot lately, Libby.
Yeah.
I feel like you kind of want me to get you to do basically anything. I'm
Charlotte,
starting
that has
to worry
to feel
about that.
good. That's got to feel really good to have Libby kind of in the palm of your hand like this, kind of kicking her feet helplessly.
Oh no, I hope Charlotte doesn't make me do anything very naughty. No, we can't do that. We can't do that stuff on here. We can't do that.
No, that's got to be finest.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Tom. Pleasure to have you here. Like, we probably should talk a little bit about Bake Off, right? Because
I'd love
Bake Off is British originally. So
That's true.
do you want to talk a bit about Bake Off? Are you even allowed to at this point? What's the situation
I
with
am.
Bake Off?
I think Bake Off also sits in that beautiful area where, as far as it's concerned, podcasting does not exist. I think that everyone who the feedback for people who don't know, I host a podcast called BigSoftTitty.png with my wife, which I would describe as at best scatological. And the feedback from the Bake Off producers were, when we were like checking that you were okay to hire, I tried to listen to an episode of that, didn't really get it, but it seems fine. You know what? We can talk whatever. The Great Australian Bake Off, obviously a spin-off of the British version. I'm in a position where I get compared to, the season hasn't come out yet, but I think everyone sees the weird guy and is like, oh, you're the Noel.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And how does that make you feel?
How does that
Mad.
make you feel?
Mad. Mad because he looks like shit and they made me cut my mullet off. And that guy looks like a corpse, dude. He looks like he got washed up on the foreshore. Come on. Let me keep my nasty hair.
Yeah, you have talked a lot about the fact that they've made you put your hair up sort of like Jedward, right?
Mm-hmm.
At least at the beginning.
They made me look like a gestural or a paintbrush. Yeah, they really make my hair go way up.
Yeah.
But, they have their own aesthetic, and it's, seems maybe the way I live my life isn't, it doesn't have the broad appeal that Bake Off is looking for. And this is a gentle reminder of that. It's fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've done one season of Bake Off so far, and it was really fun. It's obviously different. We're in a shed rather than like a big constructed wooden shed over here rather than the little glass house they make over in the UK.
Smart. Because, here's my question. Actually, this is a bit of interesting reporting on my part. Is the shed air conditioned?
It has two big air conditioners at the back of the shed. And people would go and stand directly in front of them and kind of wave their arms around when they were trying to get cool. But in an Australian climate, which is, you know, it has the ability to be hot no matter what the season is, and also in a room with 12 ovens all running at the same time, it will be hot no matter what air conditioner you have running.
Sure.
And so, whenever you see someone like being like, oh, I should have tempered the chocolate better, but it was still hot or whatever. Yeah, it's like, that room has been literally baking for 6 hours, you know?
Right. Right. Because that is a thing on the British one, which I'm quite a fan of, where there is always an episode where it's extremely hot. They film it in the summer in Britain, and even in Britain, it can sometimes get hot in the summer, it turns out. And so there will always be one where it's like, oh, we're doing chocolate week and it's 35 degrees Celsius outside and everyone gets mad about it. On the other hand, it's really hard to keep a kitchen cool, period, you know, like anywhere, because of the hot that makes the stuff go baked.
That's so true. I'm so glad you guys have got the video content on lock here so people can see Libby's transition to smile. And she realized how stupid the sentence was.
When I am able to land the sentence, and I'm so proud of my little self, and I'm walking inside with mud all over my face and a big grin, and I've somehow got a stick in my hair, but I've made it.
What you have to bear in mind here as well, Tom, is that we had a conversation recently where Libby was like, I'm definitely funnier in the mornings. And because of the nature of this recording with you being on Australia, we are recording, it's 8 p.m. for me, 5 p.m. for you, Libby. So
at 5 p.m. and basically I got nothing, babe. There's nothing going on in there. It's just some sort of warm water up in there at the moment. It's kind of leftover kettle water, you know, and you make a cup of tea and there's a bit of water left. That's what's powering me
just always
right now.
Hanging out.
Very familiar. Could stick your finger in your ear and just be like, ugh.
I think you probably would be at any time of day, actually. I don't think there's ever any good stuff going on in there. You're not going to stick your finger in and then get gently caressed by a cat or anything. It's always going to be quite sticky in there. Sorry about that. So you wore a bake-off, and that's really great. I'm really happy for you, Tom. It's so nice.
It's so cool that you're on bake-off.
We are going to steam forward. We're not going to interrogate any of the things Libby said, and I want you to sit there
the ear stuff.
secure in that. No. Yes. No, don't worry about it.
The ear is closed.
Obviously, it would be nice to put a finger in something and get gently caressed by a cat. But yes, it is... it is fascinating to actually be there in real life and see people falling behind and be like in a position where you're like just watching all the like crew around you go like, they're falling behind. Why don't they realize it? And someone from like the food production will like walk up to them and go like, just so you know, that should be like a little bit ahead of schedule right now. And they're like, oh, okay. And you just see it in real life. You see the moment happen live. You want to reach out and shake them.
Oh my God. Okay, so yeah, I don't really know anything. I've always wondered about Bake Off production. I assume it's pretty similar in the Australian one as to the British one. But the idea that there is a roving producer kind of looking at something and being like, and are we happy with this? Is that do we think this is your best? You know, like when a teacher would look at anything I drew in art class and say, and did we try on this one? Or
we did.
We tried so hard, you bitch. I just don't know how to do it. God.
Yeah, nobody's taught me. That's your job.
It's true that no one did really teach me. It was just sort of, well, draw this. Oh, that looks like shit. Okay, it's true. I don't know, man.
With that, you really do just have to be good at it. If you know you're going to be good at it, you just have to be it. You know,
I think probably you can learn how to do it, but they're not doing much of that in school from my from my memory.
There's literally like a set way to get good at art, and they teach it at like you can buy a book. There's a website online now that I did like a bunch of the free little like self-guided lesson plans on years ago, and it's called drawabox.com, and it's really boring, but it's just you draw a box, like a 3D box, and then you draw it like rotating through the axes, and at the end of that you're like, oh shit, I know how to draw a shape in like down on a page. And then you can work from that and draw other stuff. But for some reason, they don't do that. For some reason, they just jump to, why don't we draw a flower? And you're just sitting there staring at like a piece of paper and a object, and you have to translate one into the other.
Yep, pretty much.
How you do that?
All I remember technique-wise is the lesson where they introduced shading. And from, again, this was 25 years ago or something, so I don't really know. But from my memory, they were basically like, yeah, it's just when you color it in a bit because there's a shadow. All right, there you go. Now go and draw it. And they just put a thing on the table and we were supposed to draw it. And that was every single lesson was, there's a thing on the table. Why don't you draw it?
Yes. Just for Pat later on, do you want to get a clean take of Libby saying 12 now, and we can just put that over 25 years ago? But then we can move on. But just as like a little,
Tom
just something to.
Tom thinks I'm old. Tom's looking at me on the video episode and saying I'm old and a horrible old lady.
I was so curious to like find out what kind of Tom we would get on our podcast, because there's gloves on Tom and then there's gloves off Tom,
Which one? Oh, she's younger than me.
It's true.
Which one would you like? Which one?
Gloves on. Put those gloves on,
sweet.
baby. But the big gloves on.
Yeah.
The big, the oven gloves, that don't even have fingers. It's just, all you can do is kind of go, pa, 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 pa.
Consider my rough edges sanded off. I'm going bake-off mode on this one.
Yeah. Please treat me like a baker who's like Biscuit Town has just collapsed.
God.
Who has been unable to keep the shape of their bread sculpture or whatever. That's actually my gripe, Tom, with Bake Off, is
go ahead.
The increasing, and again, just in the British one, the increasing tendency towards big, elaborate sculptures of things. And I understand it. It's because it translates on telly, and it's I can't taste the thing that they say is good. So, all right, we'll have them do something that's even more big and elaborate and blah blah blah. Don't care. I want to see them make a nice pie. I don't want them to have to do 800 different little biscuit men in a biscuit diorama of Charles Dickens or whatever. I simply want it to be them making nice jam or nice ice cream or whatever, because I am myself a baker, and I get so mad when baking shows are all about fucking fondant.
I completely understand. And I will say that hopefully the signature challenge and the technical bake can go some way to slake your endless appetite for actual baking, as you say. But of course, the showstopper does lean on a certain show-stopping quality. And for some people, that's pizzazz, Libby. Not every show can be brought to a screeching halt by a simple nice pie. We need something that makes people stop and go, wow, did they bake that?
That's what I do every time I eat a pie, Tom. It just the simple pie. I mean, maybe I'm actually really revealing myself as British.
I'm taking one glove off. Well, you're a simpleton, my dear. We're appealing to a sophisticated audience, and the glove is back on. All right.
To be clear, with the glove on, glove off thing, like either way, you're punching, right? And that's sort of the way it works with Tom.
Actually, putting the gloves on allows me to punch harder. They're protecting my fists. You're right.
That's true. That is true. Tom, we always like to ask our guests about their connection to the UK, and you have quite a big connection to the UK in the hole you came from. It's your mother.
Again, this is 5 p.m. Libby, everybody.
That's right.
She's so nice. I've met her. She's like one of the nicest, most generous people. And I had to call her a bloody hole, didn't I?
She's a lovely hole. And I did come from, indeed, an English hole. I would say, I was thinking about this because I listen to the pod. And I hear you ask that question. And that, of course, has me thinking, oh, what would I say in answer to that? And now I don't have to wonder anymore. I can just say it. I think I'm dangerously close to a genuine, maybe not right now, but I'm dangerously close to a genuine Anglophobe. I have such a dyed-in-the-wool dislike of generally English things, which is born out from, usual self-hatred and also like my experience of English people being a lot through going over there to perform and being already depressed when I landed. But my family is like a half. I mean, it's essentially all English. Like both my parents are traveled to Australia, and then one of their holes popped me out, as I remember. And then like meeting my mum's side of the family. I mean, to give you an idea of how English they are, my uncle once, God rest his soul, he's passed now. He crossed the Rainbow Bridge.
Uncles don't do that.
He died like a dog. No, he didn't. I shouldn't say that. But he once, I went to hug him after we'd had like a slightly more plussed up emotionally conversation, and I had arms out, fully out, wingspan to hug him, and he turned and grabbed my right hand out of the air like he was parrying a projectile and put me into a handshake.
Oh, boy.
Oh my God, he hit you with the L2. That is crazy. That is crazy.
So that's the level of like English boarding school attendee that I associate with being English.
I understand. I see you and I hear you, and I have had experiences much like this in my family and beyond. We can be an icy bunch of freaks for sure.
Yes.
So I understand that, and I won't be offended at your Anglophobia, because I know it comes from a place of deep trauma, and so I will instead just sort of smile. I'll give you a sort of pitying smile.
Thank you.
Oh.
In many ways, it makes me the hero. You're right.
Yeah,
I like all the English people that I get to choose to know, and that I like my English family. I like Libby.
Yes.
Do I need to point at myself as well in order for you to do me, or no?
Why, there's that buffoonish laugh that we all know and love, and of course I like Charlotte as well.
I think that's fair enough. I deeply relate to the experience of getting off the plane at Heathrow feeling depressed that you are there. Heathrow, I think especially has it's giving you environmental like damage for sure when you get off, and you have to walk so fucking far. It's fucking 6 a.m. You've been flying for so long. You have to walk so far, and then you go to the fucking central bus station, and you got to sit there waiting for your bus to Banbury, knowing it's going to be horrible and that you just left a place you'd like, and the only place you can get a cup of tea is fucking Cafe Nero, and it sucks.
Dude, Cafe Nero is so bad. Cafe Nero is like, if you just wiped all of those off the face of the earth, then I think the global happiness index would like increment 2 clicks.
It
is crazy how bad they are.
Can you fucking believe that they have them in America now?
No.
What is the fucking point? What is the point? They've got like 50 of them in like Boston.
Ah.
Ugh. Ugh.
Ugh.
Horrible.
Ah.
Yeah. It's tough. It's tough to go there. And I'm sure, especially if you're doing Edinburgh. Is this for Edinburgh
Yes.
that you would?
I was doing Edinburgh, and I do shows at like in London at the Soho Theatre, and that was always like a pleasant prize afterwards. That was like the victory lap that you'd get after doing Edinburgh, which was always very like very, very trying, because basically it's a festival where there's one day off in the middle for most acts. And so you're doing an hour show every single day, except for one day in the very middle. And you're also doing spots around that. And the place you're doing the show is in Edinburgh, Scotland. And it is not the nice big venue that they usually use for venues outside of the festival. It is in a dungeon, or it's in my last Edinburgh. It was in 2 shipping containers that had been welded together, that were actively leaking. And this was, to be clear,
leaking with what?
They were leaking with rain. For of course, Edinburgh is a rainy place, and they had not. like a week into the festival, they finally like splayed a tarp over the shipping containers, but they didn't do it correctly. So the water just collected in the middle. And to be clear, this is a sought after venue that had Britannic, who are like, obviously, and Jordan Gray, who who was nominated for like best, nominated for outstanding show, or had like the breakout hit of the festival. Everybody gets sick. Everybody gets so messed up. And the last time I did Edinburgh, and this like really informed some of my Anglophobia, I walked past the Oxford a cappella choir's poster every single day on the way to my show, and I'd stare in the face of every single boy that was in that choir, and I would genuinely like seethe in a way I haven't experienced before.
Yes, quite so. It does seem like, from hearing descriptions of it, that Edinburgh, it's less of a festival and more of a sort of gauntlet or, kind of trial. Quite harrowing. It seems to be a way for you to spend £20,000 to have the worst month of your life. And be ill.
It's one of those things where people have not acclimated to the fact that it is no longer a star-making machine, and so still charge for it to be at that point. Here, if there's... Oh, God. Sorry, just... I'm looking at The Boys.
Oh, I'd love to see The Boys.
Yeah, no, you should be able to share The Boys with us. And
Edinburgh,
people on the video can see them as well.
Edinburgh Fringe, Out of the Blue. And I think this was in around, either 2023 or 2022. But I feel like, there they fucking... Sorry, shouldn't have that much venom in my voice.
It's okay. But these boys are almost certainly like in charge of the treasury now or something.
Yeah.
So
that's the thing. You're there the whole time and you're thinking, as soon as someone talks to you with an accent, you're like, you're fucking in charge, aren't you, cunt? You're the reason the trains aren't running. So that's them. Libby, you will look terrified by the Out of the Blue. I would stare at this, and I would stare at the boy in the exact bottom middle, and I would just look at him.
That's who made me do that face, because I can't believe that he is doing that face.
They did him so fucking dirty, man.
Yeah.
They did him real dirty, letting him do that smile with the "I go to Oxford"
right.
like thing around him, and I sing a cappella. Yeah, it's
blue
brutal.
Suits. Can you guys try and describe the sort of group pose that is happening as well for the audio only folks?
Yeah, they're sort of like they're sort of arranged like a sort of a flower of shit is what I would say. There's a sort of central stamen of arseholeness, which is some ginger kid who looks very pleased with himself, and then the rest of them are sort of arranged around the outside, and they're all pointing for some reason in a way that, it's not like a Nazi salute, but
at the back it is getting dangerously that close to a Roman salute on account of, yes, they are kind of pointing out in such a way that creates like a flower-like effect. They are pointing almost like the hands of a clock passing through the positions.
Yeah,
it is like the worst clock in the world. Exactly. That is what I'm looking at.
It isn't okay. So I was just looking up the picture of Boris Johnson and David Cameron at the Bullingdon Club when they were at Oxford, and it doesn't look the same. These boys look worse, I will say. The Bullingdon boys look much wankier. But I basically don't think there is a way for a group of boys who are at Oxford to do a thing about how they're at Oxford without it coming across like just the worst, most wanky thing you've ever seen, basically.
It's very hard to read it, and so much of the UK is about class and stuff, and you have to talk about that at some point, sucked in. But it's very hard to read that not as like ruling class coming through.
Yes.
Temporarily embarrassed. Yes. Would you like to spend £20 to come watch me and Jonzo? We're going to be belting out some of the classics. Absolutely stunning renditions. You're going to adore it.
I do really want to try, and it's okay if the answer to this question is no. I am really curious to know if there is anything about the UK that you do like at all. I guess I'm wondering if a big part of your hatred for it really comes from the fact that it seems like most of your trips there are like work oriented. Was there ever a time when you just visited for fun and had a nice time? Again, you don't have to say yes to this. I'm just curious.
No, those were worse. The idea of, I mean, yeah, no, the things I like about the UK is like the people that aren't this and the comedy. Like I grew up on British comedy. A lot of the time, like and English comedy, like Spike Milligan was like a guy that I owned all the books of growing up. Terry Pratchett, you know, Peter Cook. I owned like a big. They bought like a teenage me a big book of Peter Cook and Dudley Moore, which is just like pure personality damage. I don't know why you would do any of these things.
Let's make our kid weird.
Yeah. You know what? We've only got one kid, but what if we just kind of went crazy style on it? What if we saw what happened? But yeah, no, I do like aspects of the UK. I don't think I like England as a concept. I think I respond obviously, you know, very to that. But I do appreciate your feeling, Libby, and I think Charlotte, you've agreed to this. The feeling of when an American is like, oh, it fucking sucks over there. And it's like, all right, fucking watch it. You don't get to say that.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yes.
It's tough because it really is. I was thinking about this the other day about the weird sort of British impulse to get, when we were talking about the 4th of July thing on last week's episode, we were talking about Americans who think Britain must celebrate 4th of July in some way or mark 4th of July in some way. And obviously we don't. And then the sort of British response of being like, oh, fuck you. Why do you think it's always about you or whatever? And I think it's really part of the reason that both Americans and Brits have kind of in recent years glommed onto really hating the other is that it's a way to hate another country without being racist is a really big one.
Right.
Is if you are American, you can hate Britain without it being racist. And if you are Britain, you can hate America. And to be fair, a lot of fucking countries hate America because of all the bad stuff it does.
Yes.
And, you know, Britain also bad stuff. But, you know, America kind of currently...
Oh, we wanted to keep doing that. You took our thing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was our thing, wasn't it? But no, I would say America is probably the, you know, sort of the global world leader in fucking stuff up right now. And so it's just a way to kind of be a shit about another country in a way that is completely politically neutral.
It's one of the places you're allowed to say, well, we're better than them. And you're so right. It's a way to express superiority without being called out as, you know, it's a way of socially acceptable way of expressing superiority to an entire nation. And it's good to keep that muscle sharp because it's going to come in handy, you know, when it's fine to do that to anybody.
Here's the thing is I kind of just wish we could agree on maybe the French or something, you know? What about the French? Because British people have been being rude about the French in horrible ways for my entire life. And I think that's fine because of how I was brought up. So what if we both kind of agree, hey, let's stop with this back and forth about, oh, your food's bad, or oh, you know, kids get shot in schools, or blah, blah, blah. Let's just say, what about the fucking French, you know?
Yeah, I think you're suffering from, like, I don't think an American knows what the French are outside of Pepe Le Pew.
That's actually, yeah.
Like,
Shit.
I think they're really they don't know that Paris, even though it looks nice, smells like piss literally anywhere near a postcard location. Like, it's a crazy place to be.
I think as well, Americans already have the French, which I think is Canada.
Canada, yeah.
Is the thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's sort of complicated, I guess, because Canada...
Geopolitics?
Tom, that's a good point. Let's move on to our first segment. I've got nothing more. I'm not gonna fix this. I'm not gonna solve this. Charlotte, can we do British Thought of the Week, please?
It's time for British Thought of the Week.
Yay!
Tea's quite nice. What happened to Noel Edmonds? EastEnders. Bloody raining again. How do they make Scotch eggs? Did they finish Brexit or what? Yes, Charlotte, it's British Thought of the Week. And this week, the British Thought of the Week is, wait, Pat, cut this out. I want to try and come up with a funny way to say this. No, I got nothing. Dwile flonking. This week, the British Thought of the Week is about something called dwile flonking, Charlotte. You ever heard
Dwile
of
flonking.
dwile
So-
flonking?
I've only heard of dwile flonking because you said dwile flonking. Is that a British thought of the week? I did not look into it at all. And I just said, yes, obviously, whatever dwile flonking is a good British thought of the week. So go ahead, Libby. Take it
Thank
from
you.
there. But I know nothing else about it.
Thank you, Charlotte. Tom, would you have a guess for what dwile flonking was if I said, have you ever done dwile flonking?
I would honestly have assumed it was like a part and parcel of the folk style combat sports where it's like shin kicking, where you pad your shins with hay and then kick each other as hard as you can until one of you falls down.
Okay, that's a very good guess. What it is basically that, but if it was a drinking game.
Okay.
I've got a video here. This is from British Pathé in 1967. And I feel like this does a pretty good job. Let's go theater mode, just get my recommended videos out of there. Don't need to see that my top recommended video is Nintendo cheerful music to make you happy like Yoshi.
It's so fun.
She is so happy.
Picture you bopping around your house to that.
And you can see that there's just a little bit of red there where I tried it and it turned out it didn't work.
Oh, no.
Yoshi transformation video 3-hour mix guaranteed to work is just underneath that one. All right. Okay, cool.
Let's watch this video from 1967.
Can be a thirsty business.
You guys should be able to hear it.
Company of people
Yes.
who are even refreshing themselves at the local before they get down to the very serious business of playing a very old game.
Quite an amazing variety and style of hat going on here.
Incredible how British you can
Call
be.
them revivalists if you like. They're really dwile flonkers.
They're really dwile flunkers. Yeah, I'm having trouble figuring out if they look like this because it's the past or if they look like this because this is just this kind of person.
This is this kind of person. Charlotte, I can tell you it is because it is this kind of person.
Okay.
It's because of the flonking itself?
A dwile, a driveler, and a bucket full of beer. And of course, a dwile flonking pitch isn't just any old field. The ground.
The bloke doing it with his
They're
head.
having fun with it.
They're having fun with it.
Wow.
They'll tell you that though a dwile looks like a dishcloth, it really is a dwile. And to flonk it properly, it has to be dipped in that bucket of beer. Last-minute preliminaries are
Charlotte, we need to do a whole
essential
episode in
for
this
the
accent.
Beckles versus Bungay challenge match in the
Yeah,
World
no, I would
Dwile
like to get
Flonking
better at doing this
Association
voice
Championship.
personally.
Yes.
So round and round they go.
And it's Dwile's away. So here we have...
There's a bunch of men skipping in a circle and one man in the center.
Yes.
Oh, and they're all fucking him. Oh my god, it's great. No, I'm
My
just
God,
kidding. Just kidding.
he seems to be existing in a state between pleasure and pain. My goodness, they're pushing him to his limit.
I know a guy who likes that.
If you fail,
That's
you're
interesting.
a swodger, which means you have to
I
drink
must
a pot
meet
of ale
him.
before the dwile gets to the end of the line. The easiest part of the game.
Okay, so now he's drinking ale from a pot.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm
And they're
so after
passing
we
a-
watch this video explaining dwile flunking, I'm really excited for Libby to explain
explain
what dwile
dwile flunking.
flunking is to me because
I just thought this would set the scene.
Well, Beckles
you know?
is
Yes.
8, of course, and Bungay is at 2. If
Bungay
you check
is
the
at 2, yeah.
Foul
blackboard.
play gets its just reward in the only game in which the ref gets sent off the field of
The ref has been sent off the field of play.
I see. Oh, seeing the words English ale on a chalkboard is simply horrifying.
Harrowing, yeah.
Yeah.
400 years old harvest ritual. Now they do it all the year round. And by the way, at the end of the game, there's extra points for those who are still sober. So he's really letting
Interesting.
the side down.
So
Oh,
I've
yeah.
I have actually read a different version, which is that you lose points if anyone is still sober. But whatever, Pathé. So basically, dwile flunking is a game where drunk blokes dance around in a circle.
Mm.
One of them has a stick, and I will tell you what the stick is called. The stick is
'Cause-
called.
It needs to have a special name, of course.
The stick is called the driveler, a 60 to 90 centimeter pole made from yew or hazel, much like a wizard's wand.
Oh dear.
I wish
Does it
Debbie
have a
was here.
unicorn hair throughout the center as well, Libby?
I wish Debbie was here because she would understand.
I don't think the issue is one of understanding.
She would understand what I was doing. Anyway, Demi gets me. Only Demi care me. Okay. The dwile is a knitted floor cloth dipped in usually stale beer. Can you believe that they would have a source of stale beer in an English pub?
That's interesting.
It's weird, isn't it?
Mhm.
I'm gonna give you the big reveal right away here. Now I think because of the, like Tom said, this is sort of like shin kicking or whatever. You would assume that a game this silly had to be hundreds of years old, right?
Right, that would similar to with the cheese rolling, where it sort of seemed like so old they're not entirely sure how old it is anymore.
Yeah, why
They
would
don't even
anyone
have,
do
like,
this if it
records
wasn't
going back all
traditional?
that?
Why would anyone do this if it wasn't traditional? That's right, Tom. And sort of as a counterpoint, like, it's almost like you wouldn't have an excuse to do all this stupid stuff if this stupid stuff wasn't hundreds of years old. Well, in 1966, a guy said he found the rules to dwile flonking in his attic. And they started playing the game. It turns out there's no evidence that it ever existed before this guy found the rules to dwile flonking in his attic. And I think one of the big tells for me is all of these made up words that he has for the sort of glossary of terms for dwile flonking. For example, so dwile actually is the only one that I could find that I think has a real origin. That there's a Dutch word that means like mop or floor cloth or whatever that's like dwile. But then there are all these other words that are very clearly made up, meant to sound like old English, like Anglo-Saxon words. For example, the driveler, the flonker, which is the person holding the driveler, aiming the dwile at a member of the opposing girt, and the girt is the people dancing around in a circle. You have the referee is called a jobbernowl.
Sure.
A jobbernowl.
Okay.
And the feeling I'm getting is this is one of Britain's wonderful attempts, individual as it may be, to kind of gamify and excuse alcoholism and at least get you outside and maybe moving around. Which
It's
is
something
helpful.
to do. Yeah.
Something to do. Yeah, I do think that is basically right. It is obviously a lot about drinking. There were actually in 2010, I believe, there was the North Norfolk Council warned the Dog Inn at Ludham that their planned game of dwile flonking may be in breach of a licensing law, because basically you can't sell beer as a sort of drinking game, I guess.
Right.
That by gamifying drinking in this way, they were violating licensing laws. And landlady Lorraine Clinch said the players will down squash instead.
Lorraine Clinch.
I would bet my whole fucking ass that Lorraine Clinch was full of shit there, and they were in fact drinking the horrid flat beer. I want to show you a video of a more recent dwile flonk, because I think that better.
I would like to watch this video, and then I have an idea for something that we could do on the podcast as well.
Fuck
inspired
me.
by dwile flonking.
Is it-
Don't give me
is it-
that face, Libby.
Is it drinking horrid flat ale and then flinging a beer cloth at a bloke?
It's not. In fact, it's kind of half of an idea. But let's just watch
Okay,
this first.
perfect. Those are
Okay.
the best ideas.
We could get a guy and stand around him in a circle and do whatever we want to him.
So this is a modern one.
Okay.
Yeah. It's very Renaissance fair crossed with improv team warm
Yeah.
up.
Because they haven't got enough supermarkets, honestly.
Right,
I
we're
need
going to
to-
role play as
I
like,
need to...
British
sorry.
people, even though we are. That's kind of the vibe it
Yes.
has.
Charlotte, it reminds me so much of the Chap Olympics, which we talked about before in this way, because it is people
Yeah.
being like, wouldn't it be funny if we were really, really British?
Yeah,
Yeah,
bad
precisely.
news.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I need to just hear this, what the announcer here says. It's very funny to me. Hang on.
The bungy lot are angry, aren't they? It's because they haven't got enough supermarkets, honestly.
He said the bungy lot are angry because they don't have enough supermarkets. What a fucking fantastic burn there from the head of the dwile flonking. I don't know.
That's so good.
festivities.
That's
Yeah.
the kind of thing that is clearly, well, I don't know about clearly, but it's one of the things I can believe is rooted in like centuries of county to county aggression.
Mhm.
Like somewhere in his blood, there is a memory of his ancestors dying against this town. And now he's like,
Yes.
still hate them. And they don't have anything near our Tesco.
I'd like to just quickly look up how close Beccles and Bungay are. Yeah, no, we're not even talking county to county. We're talking. I mean, you could walk from Bungay to Beccles if you weren't too drunk. It's they're like 10 miles apart.
Okay.
So these are people who, for hundreds of years, have grown up being mad at the other for stealing their sheep or whatever.
Right.
Well, I don't know what everybody else's take on dwile flonking is, but I think to me it sucks and is annoying.
I don't know what you could possibly mean, Tom. And here they are dipping the dwile, the beer
dipping
cloth,
the dwile
Dipping
and putting
the
it on the
dwile, of
plonker.
course.
What was the stick called again?
the driveler.
The driveler.
The flonker is the man who's flinging it.
My apologies.
Mm.
The
This
flonker
bloke who's
flings.
wearing wellies, yeah. And now they're all dancing around in a circle. And he's going to fling it. And if he misses, then he'll have to down the whole pot of beer. This looks like they've let a lady have a go, so that's
Oh,
nice.
that's nice.
That's nice.
Wow.
They've let a lady have a go.
It's the pot for Samantha, Luke.
Oh, but she's missed because she's, not very good at sports. And now she's going to have to down it. There's the pot, the chamber
Oh
pot.
my god, she looks so much like Demi's mum. Not just the alcohol, but just the vibe of this woman is very close to my mother-in-law.
Look at that lady giving it a little wiggle at the back there. That's nice, isn't it?
They're having a great
Yeah.
time, you know?
Yeah.
I
They are
usually
having a
like-
great time.
I usually enjoy watching people have a great time, and I'm not gaining that as much from the dwile flonking.
Yes,
Yeah.
I lack the ability to wish them well. That's a personal failing from me, but I simply cannot say, well, good for them.
Yeah, I do think that the fake history of it and the fact that they sort of clearly try to maintain, I can tell from some of the stuff I've read and the videos I've watched, that they all know that it was made up in the 60s, but they prefer to pretend, well, maybe it's this old. Maybe he really did find the rules in his attic. Blah,
They're
blah,
doing
blah, blah, blah.
ha he he type shit.
They're on their ha ha he he shit. Yeah.
Yeah. This
I
is
don't like it.
unfortunately the kind of thing that I feel like I could have easily walked in on happening at like a distant family member's wedding in Cornwall. Like I do feel like as a child I could have gotten like roped into holding hands with the adults and running around the person who's throwing the soggy beer towel
Charlotte,
at me.
are you in a position to hear something that may upset you?
No, and never from you, Tom. But I
That's
do want to
perfectly
hear what
fine.
you have to say all the same.
I know that you are a humongous Doctor Who fan, and
Yeah.
I would guess the same of almost everybody in this circle. I think that.
God, Tom, he's done it. He's got the fucking knife out and he's put it in.
I mean, like, and there, but for the grace of God go I. I think that I could also have been a fan of Doctor Who. You know, I grew up when the good one was on TV, the bald guy who with the good takes. And I think that Doctor Who and having a little bit of a laugh is adjacent to this.
I hear you. Yes, I think this type of guy, the Chap Olympics type of guy, we're going to do something silly and put on silly clothes. Like all the footage I found of all the modern dwile flonkings, they are putting on silly clothes.
I will be painting this in the same way that I paint the Doctor Who fans that I don't like, which is the ones who all seem to believe that the show would be better if they were either made the showrunner immediately or were the Doctor themselves.
Yes.
Which is, I feel like I can see the through line there, and I understand. And also, Libby is also maybe less so than me. I mean, you didn't have a fucking Doctor Who band I know you have the same fondness for it as I do.
Here's the thing, Charlotte, is I didn't have any talents. So maybe if I'd had a talent to which I could put my Doctor Who fandom, then I would have had a Doctor Who band or written Doctor Who fanfic or,
which I didn't do.
No, I believe you. And it's actually, and I sort of think that less now that you've said it so quickly and so loudly.
Well, who thinks the lady, and so on.
Indeed. I am. Look, I'm okay. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with Doctor Who being embarrassing and bad, and that I like it, and it's fine. And I won't let Tom hurt me again. I do want to just
perhaps
read.
we will talk about that in a future episode.
Wow.
Wink, wink. Nudge,
Maybe
nudge.
we will. Hey up. Hey up. 2007 story here. Ransom note for flonking prize. Would you like to hear this? Ransom note for flonking prize. This is from the Eastern Daily Press. And by the way, I should say that the dwile flonking thing specifically comes from Suffolk and mostly seems to happen in counties around Suffolk, Sussex, Norfolk, that whole sort of East Anglia bit of England that I do not claim. So in 2007, let me just find the right bit to read here. The world of dwile flonking, a traditional Norfolk and Suffolk pub sport, has been rocked by the theft of the Gazunder trophy, so called because it goes under the bed. I want to die. I wish to die.
That did make me imagine it made me imagine Mr. Dwile flonking, and I did slap him around the face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is, look, I adore Terry Pratchett. These are Terry Pratchett fan-coded behaviors.
Yes, and they are, and they overlap so strongly in my head with real ale guys who also enjoy Morris dancing. It's such a strong type of guy in my head, and I don't mean that the man is strong.
Is it okay to have fun when you're English? Is there a kind of fun we can imagine an English guy having that doesn't make us a little bit mad?
That is
Go
such
ahead
a
and
good
try
question.
it.
This is a horrible question because I'm thinking about an English guy doing American stuff, and that's making me really mad. It makes me mad when British guys say "awesome," for example. I hate that.
Wow.
I'm thinking about them playing football. I guess that's all right.
If an English guy makes a goal and pulls his shirt up over his head or something, and you go, "Woo, that's nice."
I think I like that.
That is nice.
I sent Charlotte recently the wonderful video of the lads in the pub singing Truly Madly Deeply by Savage Garden. That I really like.
Really good.
Yeah. So they must be out there. Let me just finish reading this story.
Sure.
So they stole the Gazunder, which is a chamber pot that you drink the horrid beer from.
Sure.
The infamous Gazunder pot was commissioned by Southwold Brewery Adnams for the dwile flonking section of the Beccles Festival of Sport in the 1960s when the sport was revived, created for the first time, by rival local teams from Beccles and Bungay. The story has it its rules were discovered on a piece of parchment called Ye Old Book of Suffolk Harvest Rituals. You fucking liar. Makes me so mad, because, I actually do respect history. And I hate people who do little history hoaxes because stop it. What are you doing? You fucking weirdo. Yeah, knock it off. It's not funny. What's the joke? Then we all find out that it wasn't real. Ha ha ha.
Okay, I think you're going to hate my idea, Libby, which is that I would like to try and create a British game like this that we make up, and that my goal would be for us to have the first "What's All This Then" viral moment where people are playing whatever stupid made up quote unquote old history British game, and then we do the big reveal that we were behind it the whole time. Is that too much work?
I think I would rather not.
as someone whose podcast is still struggling under the unbearable weight of quote unquote the soup episode, which Demi promised we would do, as I said, I don't think we should do that several months ago. I will say that does sound like a lot of work, but I would love to see what you cook up, what rules you cook up for people to follow.
I think what I'm doing, what you guys are doing, is taking me way too seriously right now. Which is, wouldn't it be fun to just come up with an idea for a stupid British game.
I mean, I could do that. I could meet you in the middle and come up with the idea, but I don't think I could seed it into the world, you know? I don't think I can.
You
We have
say
to burn
you don't
the
have
episode.
that kind of power, Libby?
I guess not. Let me just read a bit more of this article because basically what happened was they sent them, instead of giving them the fucking pot or whatever, there was like a little stupid fucking poem in there that was like, we won the thing. I'm not even reading it because I don't even want to. I want to read this quote from Buzz Took, which is a Hobbit name.
That's an actual name.
Yes, a man named Buzz Took. A fool of a Took.
Buzz Took.
Buzz Took.
Oh.
The secretary of the Blythe Valley Flonkers said his team are the rightful holders of the trophy and will not be challenged for it. He said, "We've retired gracefully and that's it. All our boys are almost 70. We won't come out again. It's a done job. There were no laughs and jokes with the Blythe Valley Flonkers. We took it very seriously. I nearly got divorced 20 times because of dwile flonking. That's how seriously we took it." Buzz Took has devoted his life to this made-up sport for twats, and I just want to say that I hate that.
I personally believe that he may well have been having a laugh during these quotes, and my horrible suspicion is that all of this is, and this is maybe the thing that I hate most in the world, some harmless fun.
Oh, no, Tom,
I despise. I genuinely, it gets my teeth up like you wouldn't fucking believe. Again, this is not an okay form of enjoyment for the English person to be engaging in.
There's
They
nothing
should be
more
sat
harmful.
down, dour in a pub.
Right. Sorry, is the beer that bad that you can't just sit there and drink it? I guess so.
Well, the answer is yes, yeah.
Yeah,
course.
the answer is yes, yeah.
It's great
that
to
was-
both feel like British people are too depressed and that's annoying, and also when they are happy in the specific way they are, that's also annoying. It's almost as if we can't win.
I will say, Tom, this is a very English sort of what's the word? An English instinct of yours to
Yes.
hate others' fun. That's deeply English.
I'm fully aware of that, and it's why I believe that my Anglophobia does classify as self-hatred, again, because I am
Right.
English by blood, and it is all just it is all just resentment towards myself.
Yeah. Yeah. But you need a bit of that, right?
And speaking of things we need a little of, I think we all need a little bit of this episode's topic in our lives, don't you? Trying it out. You guys each got to do segues. I wanted to do it.
You did a really good.
It was nice. It was really good.
You did a really good job.
I did feel like something was being stolen from me. But
I didn't have a
same.
segue. I was just going to say, let's do the main topic.
Let's do the main topic.
We can get that clean if you want, Libby. We can get you dispiritedly saying, let's do the main topic clean.
I think we need someone to make a theme song for us that is the main topic of the show, and it's called Let's do the main topic.
Let's just fucking do the main topic, shall
Let's
we?
do the main topic.
Let's just fucking get on with it.
Let's just do the fucking main topic. Ugh.
Well, it's time to answer the question, one of the questions posed in the theme song of this very podcast, is it not? What's Mr. Bean? And
Yes!
I'm going to hold up my bean again, just because I picked up my bean. I
Put
picked
down
it up.
the peanut. Put down the peanut now.
To me, it's become a bean as well, which is nice. We're talking about Mr. Bean, who, okay, first off, I think it's very funny that we had your wife on the podcast and did an episode about Mr. Blobby, and now we're doing an episode with you about another Mr. B, which is Mr. Bean. It feels like we almost planned that, but we did not.
We
The
did
podcast
not.
is dead set on never passing the Bechdel test. Always, always sure to do it. Yeah, it's an honor to be on, continuing the legacy of the Misters.
I just want to point out that a peanut is technically a legume, which makes it kind of a bean.
Kind of a bean.
It's kind of a bean.
It's lovely for you to come to my defense,
Libby now closing the
not.
Google result.
You're
for
not?
peanut.
I'm not coming to your defense. I'm really coming to my defense, and you are getting some of the
Okay, sure. No, I'll take
the
it.
defense
I'll take
from
it.
it. Yeah, Mr. Bean. You like Mr. Bean, right, Tom?
I like Mr. Bean very much. Thank you for asking.
Mr. Bean. You like Mr. Bean. I was sort of, I will say, I was a tiny little bit hoping that you would come in your Bean costume, but I understand that might not be a comfortable costume for everyday wear.
Honestly, the terrifying thing about the Mr. Bean costume, which I do have, it's just a white collared shirt and a jacket and a red tie. I think the worst thing about the Bean costume is how good I look in it.
You look really good in it.
I wish it was how I just dressed every single day.
It's kind of annoying that he's ruined the look. You could never just do that because you would just be doing Mr. Bean.
You're just doing Mr. Bean.
Yeah.
I do feel like I missed the Mr. Bean era of your stream, Tom, if there has been one.
It was 1 week. It was literally one week.
Okay.
And it was, it was just, I'd promised, again, it's similar to the soup episode, but so long ago, I'd promised I'd do Bean Week, which was me like setting it up so I could drive a car in a racing simulator using the classic Mr. Bean setup of the rope over the sides of an armchair that you are using to turn the wheel that you are above, and then also playing Mr. Bean for the PlayStation 2. But yeah, no, there's no Bean era. Don't worry, Charlotte.
Okay.
Your fan credentials remain as strong as they ever were, and I'm telling everyone they're strong. They're really strong. You're obsessed with me. You love me.
Charlotte knows who Tom is. And she remembers most of the time.
Yes.
That's
and
right.
also, hey, to throw my hat in the ring with Libby here, I'd do anything you ask of me. You have full power.
I want to leave my own podcast now.
No, no, Charlotte, no.
I'll come take you away. Whatever you need, dear.
Whatever you need, babe. Whatever you need.
Whatever you need. Mr. Bean funny, Mr. Bean good.
Mr. Bean funny, Mr. Bean good. I also wanted to say Tom's Mr. Bean streams were very funny and good. I deeply related to your absolute reluctance to fulfill the promise that you had made on your stream, because I too have outstanding stream promises that of streams I said I would do that I haven't done because I want them to be good. And if I do them, they won't be good.
What are the ones hanging over you, like the sword of Damocles? What do we got?
I just want to say this is physically painful for me to talk about because I feel so bad about having had people pay money for me to do these things that I haven't done them, but I will do them. I will. I have baking crowd control, where the idea was that people are able to pay to make me ruin my thing that I'm baking, like 100 bits, I'll have an extra egg or whatever. And
sounds like a lot of work, and I understand why you haven't done that one yet.
Yep. You also have to buy like a lot of supplies, which sucks.
Exactly.
And then there will be 6 or 7 people in the chat saying stuff like, food waste much?
Yeah, exactly.
And then ordering from DoorDash, but whatever. And the other thing is something I call Don't Wake Daddy, which is actually inspired by something that I bought because of a Tom stream. Tom did a stream called How We Watch. I bought myself a Sony Watchman, which is a little portable television from the 80s. It's this big, and set up a whole system where I transmitted a actual analog frequency from my laptop to watch Tom on this tiny portable telly. And then I was like, wouldn't it be fun if I played Mario 64 on that, and I was like under a blanket or whatever, because kids would, I guess, watch stuff on their little Sony Watchmans under the covers in the 80s and try not to be caught. What if I'm playing Mario 64 on that, and then if my noise level goes above a certain decibel level, I have to start again? And then 2 things happened. One, I had a mental illness.
Sure.
I didn't want to do it anymore. And then second, our friend Luke did a whole subathon where the concept was Luke can't loud. If he goes above a certain decibel level, stuff happens. And that really sort of took the wind out of my sails a little bit.
I will say, I think there's a pretty easy snip in Don't Wake Daddy to make it a still difficult and annoying idea for you to do, but far simpler, which is simply, to lose the bit where you can't be loud. But I do understand that would mean you'd have to lose the name Don't Wake Daddy, which you seem to like.
I do like the name Don't Wake Daddy. I like the idea of not waking
You
Daddy.
just want to do something called Don't Wake Daddy.
Yes.
The other thing about Don't Wake Daddy, and this is insane, is that I didn't know that it is a board game for American children from like the 70s. I thought that the phrase was invented by Mike Mitchell in an Instagram reel that he did for the Doughboys in like 2021 or whatever, where he was reviewing Doritos in his apartment and he kept going, "Don't wake Daddy." And I just thought it was really funny. And I was like, yeah, this is cool. I called it Don't Wake Daddy. And then everyone was like, oh, yeah, like the board game. And I was like, what?
Huh?
Huh?
Well, I'm going to...
Mr. Bean.
Yes, we should talk about those, Mr. Bean. Also, you don't have to do either of those things, Libby, and it would be fine. This is my feeling is if you did the problem, like I think I've heard you talk about both of those ideas before and had forgotten about them until you brought them up again. It truly is a case of just do it if you want to, if it becomes easy, and then if that never happens, it is fine. But I know you will always live with the pain, which I guess maybe you want to be free from.
What if people gave me like 50 subs to do Don't Wake Daddy, and then I didn't do it, and then I'm a scammer, you know, I'm a grifter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the guy who pretended to invent dwile flonking, but worse.
Could also just do it real shit as well.
Yeah. There's no. I think the core problem with your philosophy is the stream has to be good.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. This is something I've learned is that going through your entire life with an absolute terror of doing anything because what if it's bad doesn't make the things that you do better. It just makes your life horrible.
Right.
Tell you someone who does things bad sometimes. Why, it's our old friend, Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean! It's Mr. Bean. Tom, tell me did you grow up watching Mr. Bean as a child?
I did.
Okay.
That's all we have time for today, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. Yeah, no, I grew up watching Mr. Bean as a kid. Mr. Bean is one of those things where I think there's so few episodes, and I saw all of them multiple times. They were so funny to me.
It is really it is the joke of how many episodes are there of this beloved British TV show, and there are 15 episodes of Mr. Bean. Really interesting as well. When I was just looking at the episode list, I was like, okay, the first episode came out January 1st, 1990. When did the second episode of Mr. Bean come out?
Oh, when?
In November that same year. Yes. They released 2 episodes of Mr. Bean in that 1 year of 1990.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I'm looking at the list of episodes now, and this ain't The Simpsons. These episodes never came out as like regular, you know, like a season where it was on every night at 6 p.m. or every week at 6 p.m. or whatever. They always had gaps of months in between them. And I guess Mr. Bean was a big event when it happened. It was your yearly bean or your biannual bean.
It was the thing that you would find funny for the next however many months, and it would get you through those hard Yorkshire winters.
I don't think they like Mr. Bean in Yorkshire because I think he's a bit daft.
Oh, the touched man is on the telly again. Oh no. He's making a problem for everyone.
Oh, he's awful, isn't he? I'd give him a right smack. Sorry, I'm really sorry if you're from Yorkshire. So
she's just doing it because she likes to do the voice.
I love to do the voice. I love to do the
She
voice,
loves to do
and
the voice.
I'm genetically Yorkshire, so it's fine. My sense is we are all basically the same age. Like we are within like a year or so of each other.
25,
age-wise.
27,
25,
28,
27. 17 and we've got our whole lives ahead of us, and it's so exciting.
Yes.
I hope we're still friends after high school, guys.
I can't wait to go to college with you all, or uni as we call it.
We do call it that. So they were on between 1990 and 1995. So I think Mr. Bean was already very much over by the time I was seeing it. I wasn't seeing Bean until I was maybe 7 or 8. And at that point, I would be exposed to Bean as compilation VHSs that my nan would get from the library when we were coming to visit.
100%.
So I was only ever watching quite a lot of Bean at once, I think.
Yes. And that's so divorced from the way that it was like parceled out. Well, we came of age at a time where all the Bean that would be made was already made. until the London Olympics. Like,
Wow.
that was
Right.
the
Yes.
next Bean moment.
With the exception of the Mr. Bean movies.
Of course.
Yes, Bean. And I do remember Bean coming out and being excited about it. It came out in August 1997, so I must have already known about Bean by then.
Mm-hmm.
And I do remember watching Mr. Bean, having it on VHS, finding it wonderful. I wonder if it would hold up to a 2025 viewing.
I think it does, but also I've rewatched it fairly recently, and I'm a sucker for that physical. Yeah, no, I rewatch Bean every now and again just to check in on how funny it was.
Okay,
it's one thing also watching it in 2025 and being like, this has like 2 seasons, and in one of them they use a tank to crush a car. It's so crazy.
Okay, that is good. Do you feel like you're a clown and you're a mime? Do you feel like these things play into your love of Mr. Bean, Tom?
Are you a clown and a
definitely.
mime because of Mr. Bean?
I don't think it's because of, but definitely like the physical comedy of. No, it's not. It's not.
it's
Don't
because
put that
of
in the
Mr.
clip.
because of Mr.
No. Not getting your Diary of the CEO moment here where you fucking crack the code on me, cunt. No, absolutely not. No, I think that the physical comedy of Rowan Atkinson is like it's one of the places you get like physical comedy that everyone can enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Right.
and in part that's because they made so fucking little of it that it could be pretty much all bangers, or like, you know, certainly have a
Yes.
higher quality than a show usually would.
Yes, I do think that when people talk about British comedy, a huge amount of the heavy lifting is being done there by the fact that they don't make too much of them.
Yes.
You know, I'm sure there are British comedies that have, you know, hundreds of episodes, whatever. But, you know, a lot of the best ones, The Office, The Thick of It, Peep Show is kind of an exception because they did make 9 seasons of that. And
They made a lot of that.
yeah, but there's only 6 episodes a season, whereas American comedies like Frasier or Friends, 24 episodes a season, 11 seasons. I mean, that's fucking crazy. You just simply cannot, like, what's the word? Sustain a comedic concept for that many episodes. Whereas Bean, which is not really all of that, I would say you can't really get all that much more out of Bean than maybe about 15 episodes, 20 at a stretch, you know? I don't think there's a lot more physical. I mean, obviously, yes, the sort of like physical comedy chops of Rowan Atkinson is also like key to that. But I don't know how much more juice there was to be squeezed from that Bean.
The movies proved that if there was one thing we could possibly get him to do more than this, it was, and what a wonderful little smile we have from Libby when she's satisfied with her bean juice.
Again, I did laugh at Livy's little smile, and I thought that's fine because you can watch this for free over on the Patreon if you're just
was
listening audio
charming.
only.
That's right.
But there was the Bean movies proved the point that, like, you know what, we've this Bean character needs a refresh. We actually need him to go overseas and momentarily grieve the daughter of the family that he's staying at, who is shot in a crossfire.
Okay,
Is
I
that-
didn't remember that.
That happens in the
Yeah.
film. That
That's
happens
in
in
the
the film,
film?
and they have a moment where Bean stands awestruck over a girl who might die.
Okay, Charlotte,
Okay.
I know we just did Two Bird Cinema Club. I think we need to do a Bean Two Bird Cinema Club.
We absolutely do. It is a movie that I did love as
Me
a
too.
kid
Mhm.
because I was like, "That's Mr. Bean." Isn't it so funny that it's Mr. Bean and he's I mean, weirdly the only like joke I can remember other than like the stuff with the painting, doesn't he like sneeze on the painting or something?
The face he draws on the
draws
painting
over
is
it. It's
so
so
funny.
good.
He draws I mean, I'll tell you what he did is he did what came later, which is the sort of like the internet movement of photoshopping Mr. Bean's face onto everyone.
Yes.
That's what he was doing in the Bean movie. He kind of started that. But
Can I
I can
also
remember
just-
that, and also Doesn't he give a security guard laxatives?
Yes, that is something I remember enormously because it's when I found out about the concept of laxatives was from this movie.
Same.
I'm so sorry. I need to walk back one thing.
Okay.
The daughter is not the girl is not hurt from a crossfire. Instead, an officer he's met before has been injured. Who's been shot while dealing with a mugging. He removes the bullet from the security officer. The girl has simply almost lost her life in a motorcycle accident.
Okay.
Man, LA
My
really
apologies.
is as dangerous as they say, isn't it?
Yes.
Charlotte, would you mind just showing this? I want to talk a little bit about the poster for the movie.
Yes.
Isn't this a perfect 90s movie poster?
It's so good.
I mean, the white sort of background, sort of key to the 90s movie poster. I mean, obviously it's a great poster because it's just a big picture of Mr. Bean's face as well. But I also, that particular like red font for Bean too. And what does that, can you read what the tagline of the Bean movie is, Libby?
Yes, it says, "Be afraid, be very afraid. Mr. Bean has a passport." And then it says, "Bean, the ultimate disaster movie," which I love.
The ultimate disaster movie as a
crazy.
description did get me as a kid, for sure. I was
Absolutely.
like, this is going to be fucking crazy. Mr. Bean's going to go hog wild on America.
I can almost hear, you know, that really good video from like, at this point, probably 15 or 20 years ago, where it's like, they recut the trailer of The Shining if it was a rom-com or whatever. And the guy goes, "Shining." That guy, that movie trailer voice guy, I'm just imagining him saying, you know, like with the sort of upbeat 90s, like, you know, family movie music going, "Bean." And it's just really making me feel safe and comfortable.
Yeah.
Mr. Bean is my comfort character.
Mr.
making
Bean
you
is your
feel
comfort
warm.
character.
Bean.
I have to be honest with you both about how much Mr. Bean I have actually watched.
Here we go.
Which is that I think I love Mr. Bean more as a concept than I basically don't think I was a true Mr. Bean fan, even though I would consider myself someone who liked Mr. Bean as a kid. Because I only ever watched the movie and the Christmas episode. Because we did not have Mr. Bean on VHS. We didn't have the compilations.
The Christmas
So-
episode is so good, but you've missed out on
iconic.
so much important Mr. Bean canon. You've missed out on the moment that reveals that Mr. Bean owns a gun in like episode 1 or 2. In episode 1 or 2, he goes to bed and then pulls out from his nightstand a small revolver and shoots the light bulb out rather than get up and turn it off. And it's hanging over the rest of the series. Like, when is he next going to let the chopper sing?
Oh God, the
I almost
narrative
think-
device of Bean's gun. When is it going to come back?
I almost think that you can see also he has like a big pile of light bulbs. The implication being he's
Yes.
replacing the light bulb every time. And it's and he does like a big elaborate bedtime routine. That's what's so funny about it, is he does all of this special stuff for going to bed, and then his solution is to shoot the light bulb. It's just great. It's very
He's
funny. He's a funny ass fuck. Another favorite of mine was when he's painting his apartment and he's bored of it. It's because it's tiresome. And so then he covers everything in his apartment in newspaper. Like he wraps up each individual apple or whatever, and then like sticks some dynamite in a tin of white paint
Yeah.
and explodes it so that it just covers the whole apartment. It's great.
Charlotte, what do we got to
Yes.
do to get you into the Mr. Bean canon here?
I don't think there is a way, because I mean, I should have watched some Mr. Bean for the podcast I'm doing about Mr. Bean, and instead what I did was watch a brief compilation of like Mr. Bean's top moments, and I did. Okay, I'll just be straight up. I did not laugh until the final one where he's doing the bit with the car when he's sitting on top, and
The car is fucking
really
great.
Good.
The car
Maybe
is
it was just the
iconic.
particular compilations that I watched.
Yeah,
but-
you're watching
Yeah.
compilations. You're not letting the original intent of the author flood through you. What do I got to do to get you out of video essay YouTube and into like Mr. Bean full episode kind of YouTube, huh?
Okay, actually, I did want to talk about Mr. Bean YouTube because, as usual, the main way that I've researched this topic is by putting the name of the topic into YouTube and seeing what comes up. And
Sure.
I'm very interested in the Mr. Bean industrial complex that now exists because, again, we're talking about this show that had 15 episodes. It had the movie, you know, the peak Bean era to me is these original things, but it's taken on a life of its own as the cartoon, which I believe is enormous in India. I think India adores the Bean cartoon. There's a video here, Mr. Bean World. Is the channel 6 years ago. The episode is called Ice Cream. It has 102 million views.
Whoa!
On YouTube, and that is had you ever heard of the Mr. Bean cartoon? You know, this did not touch my brain at all until probably until Tom. I feel like, have you talked about the Mr. Bean cartoon on?
I am aware
maybe?
of the Mr. Bean cartoon, and I'm aware of it because it is like the way that everyone in who's Gen Z experienced Mr. Bean. Yeah. To my understanding, it was the more available thing, and you would see this horrible little facsimile of Mr. Bean kind of dancing around and cavorting and getting into much more unrealistic escapades because he's a fucking cartoon. Yeah. And he can't suffer the real meat punishment that Mr. Bean can in our universe.
Meat punishment?
I was looking into the Mr. Bean cartoon because I did. Sorry. I missed what happened because I was thinking about
No, you're right to do it. Please continue.
Tom said meat punishment.
We're moving on. We're moving on from it.
Mr. Bean's meat is being punished.
Charlotte speaking. We're not interrupting.
I was Googling I was like, I have to assume, because of the opening of Mr. Bean, right? I'm thinking about the title where he comes, he's dropped off out of the little spotlight. Mr. Bean dropped off into our world, right?
Just so.
And so I was like, I wonder if people are talking about the theory of Mr. Bean being an alien, right? As a way to sort of explain why Mr. Bean is the way that he is, why he has trouble sort of navigating the world or navigates the world in his particular beanie way.
Because
there is
this
an
was
episode
before vaccinations. And so
there is an episode, and this was coming up in the Mr. Bean Reddit with people being like, is Mr. Bean really an alien? And people would be like, well, it's canon that he is an alien because of the episode of Mr. Bean where this is the animated show, meets a second Mr. Bean. He meets his doppelganger, the other Mr. Bean, and then they go onto the alien spaceship, and it is full of Mr. Beans.
Yes.
And they all have they don't all have teddies. They have lots of different animals, but they all look exactly the same. They all have the lime green Mini with different serial numbers on the front, license plate numbers even. And ultimately, I guess our Mr. Bean wants to go back to, I guess, his home planet, but is kicked out because one of the Mr. Beans is like, oh, I guess your girlfriend is really sad that you're leaving, so we're just going to kick you out of the spaceship and you're going to live on Earth now.
This has pissed me off an order of magnitude more than dwile flonking. I am so mad to hear about this. How dare you do that to Mr. Bean? That's not my Bean. My Bean is a guy, not an alien.
It was apparently always in the back of their heads that they could have the reveal that he's an alien because, of course, he does start off being dropped down from an otherworldly light, and he does look at the world in kind of a strange way. But it's so annoying. To explain him, it's such a Mr. Bean origins approach to where we take the story from here. Mr. Bean Gaiden revealing that there is a race of Mr. Beans.
Yes.
I mean, I get it. How many series did the fucking animated show go, though? I do understand why you would get to that point.
It was definitely a lot more than the live action one, for sure.
Certainly.
Right. And this is a particular what's the word? Like, I guess pet peeve of mine, but a thing that pisses me off a lot is when a piece of art is successful and is then torn to pieces by often the very people who created it, but let's be real, but or studios or whatever, and they're like, what can we fucking get out of this? It's sort of like Marge turning her Chanel suit into several different suits. It's like just absolutely fucking mangling it and trying to get everything. The Simpsons actually is a classic example of this, where even towards the end of the good episodes, they are starting to realize, we can take one-off jokes from previous episodes and make that a whole episode and make it canon or whatever. So like with Apu marrying Manjula, that is just a one-off joke in a previous episode, and then it becomes an entire episode of season 8. And I just hate it. I hate it so much. I hate the idea of the Mr. Bean cartoon. I hate Rowan Atkinson's little voice, like doing the voice of Bean, which is not the point of Bean.
The speaking bean is an affront to God.
The speaking bean is absolutely an inferior bean to me. And even the bits of the show where he's speaking, you know, they can be funny and stuff. But the whole point is, like Tom said, the physicality of Rowan Atkinson's acting, his crazy faces. This guy's doing crazy faces, and they're really funny. And the idea that you can be like, okay, well, what if we did a cartoon about this guy who's kind of weird and he gets into lots of sort of weird, awkward situations? It's just, you know, it's really just like stretching and pulling and like taking every single piece of this thing that was good and trying to fashion it into something that can make, you know, millions of more dollars by putting it on Mr. Bean World on YouTube.
And of course have the Mr. Bean NFTs, which you're both aware of.
Oh God, I'm so happy you know all of this stuff, Tom.
Yes, of course, I'm referring to the Mr. Bean X FOMO Lab official collection, which was 2,222 Mr. Bean NFTs.
Oh,
that
these
were minted
look
in
shit.
That were minted in May of 2022. So
okay, cool.
Too late by any estimation.
That is late. I'm gonna just
there's
pull up
the launch
the
trailer there in the in the chat if you want to see.
Okay, yeah, let's just take a quick look because this is pretty good.
Okay, so it's all of the animated version of Mr. Bean, right?
These are all animated Mr. Beans, it's true. The second video I've dropped there in the chat is Mr. Bean buys his first ever NFT from Mr. Bean Official. The other one is Mr. Bean is taking his first steps into the metaverse.
No, don't say that. He's
Good
not.
Lord. Okay,
He's painting his apartment with a big tin of paint, and he's putting dynamite in it, and he's eating Twiglets.
It's
I'm
clear
on
that
the blockchain.
Oh my God. Yeah, I am. I guess I did not care enough about Mr. Bean to be. Oh my God, this is. Okay, so it's Mr. Bean on the computer, and he's.
And this is the official Bean channel.
This is on the official. Is this on Bean World or whatever?
No, this is Mr. Bean. I think Bean World is an offshoot. I think.
Okay.
Bean World are freelancers.
Oh, he's printing out his NFT as well, and he's putting it on.
And so they're kind of showing a dullard's understanding of NFT, that Mr. Bean doesn't get the point of NFTs, but also showing that they do have absolutely no point in themselves. Like it's the rare advertisement that rebuts the product completely.
Yeah, basically. I want to show you just this list of the Mr. Bean NFT collection here on FOMO Lab. FOMO, that's how you talk, by the way.
Yeah,
No,
again,
it's not.
as I was gonna say, I don't think I cared enough about Mr. Bean to be pissed off at the animated show. I was like, it makes sense that they're just continuing it to make money from the Mr. Bean, but they're not gonna have Rowan Atkinson do it. So, but this is truly abhorrent. And honestly, I don't know why I had any sort of level of faith in the Mr. Bean team. But I guess my perception of them was that they would not be the kind of people who would do NFTs.
I think the Mr. Bean team, such as it is now a company, and the company is very stupid. If you scroll down the list, I love the fact that they're also of characters who aren't Mr. Bean. So, like, if you can, these are so very. And they're all just animation stills, right? From the show or whatever. Or like just key art for the characters. So you could get, it's exactly like the still, the frame that Bart gets from Itchy and Scratchy. Mr. Bean 706 is just a still frame of a London like guard of the Buckingham Palace guard in front of a forest background. Yeah, there he is.
There he is.
It's just, I mean, it's going to be one of the more reasonably priced Mr. Bean NFTs, I would have to assume. Since
they're all reasonably priced.
I just did a little bit of I just did a little bit of looking up here. So this one is on sale for 0.0075 Ethereum, which it turns out is $2,400. I think that's too much, but it says the last sale was 0.0028 WETH. Is WETH something other than ETH? What's WETH?
I don't know what WETH is, and I don't.
It simply must be.
Does anyone know what WETH is?
Once you have figured out what WETH is, I will be not internalizing that information. I think
Weth was the village over from where both of you grew up. But
what the fuck is WETH?
I don't know, mate. I don't know.
I don't know.
You're on your
is.
own when it comes to coins. But yeah, the Mr. Bean X FOMO lab is, to me, indicative of where the Bean is now. It's all animated and phone tie-ins and NFTs, and then one-off appearance of Mr. Bean, Rowan Atkinson playing Mr. Bean in a Chinese film, which happened, I think, like last year, and is really strange to see.
I would have a look at that. I'd take a look at that.
He is in the movie this is in 2017, and the movie is a spin-off film of a variety show, which it shares the name of Top Funny Comedian the Movie.
Top Funny Comedian
the
Movie.
And it's just a movie where a bunch of, I believe, Chinese comedians do stuff that they would kind of get into character things that they would do on the show, but also Mr. Bean is at the hotel at the same time, and people charge across the lobby to meet Mr. Bean and hang out with him, and they want to be with Mr. Bean.
I guess if I saw Mr. Bean, I would want to be with Mr. Bean.
There's just something so sad to me about having... Look, yes, Mr. Bean was great. 1995 was 30 years ago. It's 30 years since Mr. Bean did anything good. You know? Let's say 28 if we're going to say the first movie is pretty good.
Sure.
And to still be churning out Bean stuff like he still is, like Rowan Atkinson still is. So, it's undignified is what it is. And I'm sure the money is great. I'm sure he's loving life with his expensive cars, which apparently he loves.
He adores fast cars. He loves to drive fast race cars.
Yeah, I'm sure he's getting his shit sucked all the time for being Mr. Bean. And who could possibly say that they wouldn't do the same thing in his situation? But it just makes me sad, the fall of Bean.
Well,
the fall of Bean.
Does it make you feel different if I tell you that the other cast member that you will recognize in Top Funny Comedian the movie, because there's a lot of names that we don't recognize here as non-enjoyers of Chinese comedy, but one of his co-stars is Evander Holyfield.
Who's that?
Who is the boxer who got a ear bitten off by Mike Tyson, I believe.
Oh. Okay.
Yes. So he is in there in, I assume, 1 or 2 scenes also.
I would really, really like to know how much money Rowan Atkinson got paid to be in this, because it does feel like he doesn't bring Bean out a lot these days. He kind of does Bean adjacent stuff, right? He's done like Man versus Bee, which I haven't seen. I think he's doing another one of those coming soon. So he's still doing that shtick for sure, but you don't see him as being a lot. I kind of feel like I watched the clip of the 2012 Olympics, and I wasn't even like entirely convinced that it was Mr. Bean. I feel like it was just Rowan Atkinson doing his bit, you know? But it wasn't like, I guess the thing is, he wasn't wearing the little Bean outfit. He didn't have the red tie. Yeah.
Also, like some part of Mr. Bean, I think that one thing that makes Mr. Bean the thing that makes Mr. Bean to me is he's mean and horrible.
Yes.
And he is capable of unprovoked cruelty.
Yes.
in a way that is very funny, and I think a very English it's a very English trait to give this character, who is a children's character just for kids to enjoy and watch and everyone to enjoy together, to give him a mendacious streak and make him a horrible little shit. Who is like one of the things that he does that I remember is like looking around in the emergency room and laughing at someone in a full body cast, and kind of going like and mocking them to their face.
Here's the thing: is I don't know how much he is a children's character. Can I show you a little clip? I only watched like 5 minutes of Bean.
Sure.
Today, but here's a little bit from the Bean Test, which is the first episode of Mr. Bean. By the way, the Mr. Bean account does something interesting, which is that they post like dozens of different versions of these 15 episodes, like longer cuts and shorter cuts, where I think they must take bits from different episodes and stitch them together. It's very interesting, and they've all got millions and millions of views. But look at this joke. He's getting his toys out of his bag.
He's setting up his little desk.
Yes, for his exam. And now he's getting the Pink Panther out. And it looks like he's got a big Pink Panther cock, Tom.
Yes.
That's not for children.
Well, to the English, this is fine to feed to your children. To the English, this is something that is, they have a long history of bawdy humor over there.
It's true. It's true.
And it's not like he's going to, you can play the clip, but as far as I remember, he doesn't immediately start sucking the cock in order to get it to soften from coming. I don't think this clip concludes with Mr. Bean swallowing the cum so as to post-orgasm make the cock soften.
It depends what edit you're looking at on this channel. Obviously, there's lots of different versions. So.
Some of the clips are longer, and some of them it cuts to him just kind of like brushing away his mouth and the cock softening. Yeah, you're right.
Is that the only way that you can do that? To soften a cock?
As far as I'm aware.
But anyway,
I
of course, he
found
does.
a way that's more fun.
He figures out that it's actually just the Pink Panther's tail.
Yes.
I see. Right.
He's fun.
Man.
The little fucking faces he makes are really good. Yes, Tom, I agree with you. He's a horrible man, and it's very interesting to me because I think the American equivalent of Mr. Bean is Pee-wee. It's Pee-wee Herman.
Right, okay.
Who can be selfish and weird and childish or whatever, but I don't think he's sort of evil in the way that Mr. Bean... I've only seen Pee-wee Herman's Big Adventure, but that whole thing is about, like, Pee-wee Herman, like, wanting to do something good, you know? Like, I think... I don't remember films after I watched them, but I think something good is happening.
Bean, yeah, I feel like Pee-wee Herman is, like, childish, but he's a good kid.
Yes.
And Mr. Bean is an actual child in that he's a horrible little shit who will get away with whatever 100%. He can.
He's sort of like, he's like somewhere between Pee-wee Herman and like Larry David in Curb Your Enthusiasm. You know, he's like getting into all of these weird social situations that are often caused by him being a huge twat.
Yes.
But he's never gonna own up to any of it, is Mr. Bean.
No.
He's funny.
He's funny though. You gotta give it up for Mr. Bean. He's fucking funny as hell.
You simply must.
Charlotte, do you want to rank Mr. Bean?
I'm happy to rank Mr. Bean on our wonderful supermarket-themed tier list. So we have to decide where exactly Mr. Bean is going to go. Is Mr. Bean S or Waitrose tier? Is he A, Marks and Spencer's tier? B, Sainsbury's, C, Tesco, D, Morrison's, E, Asda, or F, Iceland? I want Libby to go first. Libby, where are you putting Bean?
But Tom feels like he's taking the Bean test right now, trying to remember all those supermarkets.
I've only to remember one, and so I believe I'll be acing this one.
Wow, very impressive.
It's the supermarket I bought my berries from. When
you
I
love
would go to the
look.
UK.
We share this. What Charlotte was asking. Do you like anything about England? Berries.
Dude, the berries in the UK
berries.
from a fancy. Oh God. They're the one food item that doesn't taste like it's been photocopied. Like all the other food in the UK tastes like it's had the saturation turned down on it. But or printed in CMYK, designed for RGB, whatever you want. But like the berries are so good.
I straight up, when I think about eating an English strawberry, I start hearing do 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 You know, and I'm like, I am a hobbit. I am a hobbit. I
Yeah,
grew up in the
you are a
Shire, and I love the strawberries, and I will be rescued by the big eagle from the side of Mount Doom, and he will take me home to eat strawberries.
Yay!
I'm gonna say Mr. Bean is Marks and Spencer's tier. I think he's really good, and I really cherish my childhood memories of watching Mr. Bean on rainy days in my nan's living room when she'd gotten the VHSs out from the library for us because she remembered that we liked them. And I loved the one where he's eating the Twiglets, and I love the one where he's at the hotel and he's naked, and I love the one where he is on top of car and he's driving it with a rope, and it's so funny. And I love Tom's stream where he did that, and it was really funny. I mean, you didn't drive through the streets. Obviously, that would be sort of Mr. Beast-ish behavior. By the way, when I was searching Mr. Bean on YouTube, it kept thinking I meant Mr. Beast. And it kept saying,
Okay, that is depressing.
do you want some Mr. Beast stuff? Because it would show me a bunch of Bean stuff, and then it would just put a few Mr. Beasts in there, just in case. You know, just because I like Mr. Bean, I would probably like something that sounds a lot like Mr. Bean, which is Mr. Beast.
Yes. Oh, she's on a real Mr. kick.
Yeah, Mr. B stuff, yeah. I hate all of the modern Bean. I hate the NFTs. I hate the cartoon. I hate the sort of seedy, capitalization on the treasure of Bean. But I'll always have those rainy afternoons in Nana's living room, won't I? And for that alone, it must be Marks and Spencer's tier.
You're such a Bean purist, Libby. And
I'm
I really do
so
like that
annoying.
About you.
I'm probably one of the most annoying people that has ever lived, and I shouldn't have a podcast.
Only you are saying that.
Only I am saying that, and that is not
Alright.
what Charlotte. And that's not what Charlotte said.
That's
not what I'm. That's not what I said.
in your head, that's you repeating what Charlotte said to you. And I just because I know
just
how
said you're
your
a Bean
fucking
purist.
brain works.
Isn't it interesting how Libby likes the old Bean? That's what I said.
You seem to have an attachment to this media property. I should kill myself. Message received.
I should start bringing my therapist to these just so she can see. So she can see. Charlotte?
Where am I going to put Mr. Bean? Look, I don't care for Bean as much as you guys, is the truth. I have a fondness for watching the Bean that I did watch. And I feel like if there is any Bean that I would put on again, it would honestly be, it would just be the Christmas special. Like, I feel like that's really the only context in which I am going to watch any Mr. Bean. You can try as hard as you like, Tong. I don't think I'm going to go back and actually just sit and watch a whole episode of that show. I'll just have a fondness for him on the mini and him doing the stuff to the painting. I would like to watch that again, but I feel like maybe that's what Mr. Bean is always going to be for me. Is just nostalgia for the stuff that I did see. He's going in Sainsbury's for me. It's still decent.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I appreciate Bean for who he is, but I feel like the difference is purely that I did not have the full VHS growing up.
Yeah.
I feel like I would be just like you two if I just been incepted with more Bean.
Doesn't know
as a
Mr.
young
Bean
man.
at all voice. I appreciate Mr. Bean for who he is. Interesting. Okay. Kind of giving priest who's giving the eulogy of someone he didn't know at all energy.
Yes.
If I had to put a name to it, Charlotte.
Sure.
Someone who everyone knew pretty much sucked.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Trying to find things to say. Oh, it's a shame. I think this is easy White Rose tier for me. I understand that Bean has seen a steady fall off. The animated, I think Mr. Bean has achieved the greatest success that you can have in the modern age, which is to become something so separate from what you were that you are being easily milked for money by a faceless corporation. You have turned into passive income for your creators and your rights holders. There is a series on YouTube, also uploaded by the official Mr. Bean account, which is just, I think it's called Mr. Bean Hands, and it's just a like an overhead shot of like a cutting board or whatever, and it's just saying Mr. Bean makes sandwiches or whatever, and it's just hands in the Mr. Bean costume like messing things up and going brrr, and then like one or two sound grabs. That is the level of like commercialization and shorts, YouTube shorts algorithm chasing and like YouTube content for kids that Bean is at, where it's putting out new stuff with the Bean branding that stinks. But that original run is so good. I mean, even just the Christmas special on its own is like a perfect piece of TV. I think you're right to just watch that, Charlotte, because it is like the funniest. It's the pinnacle of the season. And it features the Mr. Bean girlfriend, who is, I think, an all-timer example of she let me hit because I'm goofy. Like even Bean has love in this life, and she's desperate for him.
Do you remember the name of Mr. Bean girlfriend, Tom?
God, I did at one point, and now it's left my brain. Would you enlighten me?
It is, of course, Irma Gob.
Yes. Thank you so much.
That's really good. Okay, that's really funny. It's funny that her name is Irma Gob. Yeah.
And I did like it when he put the turkey on his head, and I did like it when he was supposed to buy the ring, and he accidentally bought the picture behind the ring.
Yeah.
And then she thought it was going to be a ring, and it was actually a little hook to put the picture up. I thought that was all really good. I do like that.
He's the king, dude.
He's the king.
He's so,
Can I say,
they're so funny.
as a kid, I did feel also a lot of sorrow watching Mr. Bean. I felt very bad for Mr. Bean and the people in his life. Times when he fucked over his girlfriend and did stuff wrong. I have long been cursed with feeling too bad for stuff that happens to characters in TV shows. For example, I could not watch the episode of the British kids show Children's Hospital that involved somebody making a cake for someone else, and then the person for whom the cake was intended getting mad at that person and throwing it on the floor. I found that to be one of the worst things I'd ever seen. That was horrific to me because they went to all the effort to make them a nice cake. And Mr. Bean had a lot of, it was really, I think, hardened me up because there's lots of really horrible stuff that happens, and I felt very sad for Mr. Bean and his sad life. But, I still found my way to laugh, didn't I? So, what a horrible little girl. The horrible girl who enjoys the sorrow of Bean. Would you like to play a game, Tom?
Yeah, let's
please. Yes, I'd love to.
Play a little
Let's
game.
play a game.
Let's.
All right. So this is a game where I'm going to read you some quotes from Mr. Bean reviews on IMDb, and you're going to guess the rating, and whoever's closest gets the point.
Great.
Sound good?
Yes.
Perfect.
Anyone have a good name for this? I couldn't come up with a good name. Guess that Bean.
Bean
guesser?
counters?
IMDb.
Bean counters!
Oh, bean
Bean
counters or
counters?
AMD Bean is good.
IMDb, yeah. Neither of them can really be used beyond the Mr. Bean episode. But
Well,
I think
yeah, neither is. This game isn't going to be used beyond the.
The
specifically
format
the
of
one where you're checking the Mr. Bean reviews isn't going to be used beyond this episode, right?
Oh, maybe we do that on the Waitrose episode. Who knows? Okay, this one is titled A Classic That Didn't Age Well. When I was a kid, I loved Mr. Bean and tried to watch these 15 episodes multiple times, but never made it through. With some help from almighty Amazon, I finally got what I wanted and wish I hadn't. Why? Because it shattered my illusion. He represents everything we dislike about others these days. We are the girlfriend, in quotes. We dislike the way he's trying to be funny. We dislike the way he treats people, including us, brackets girls. We dislike the way he lives. We dislike the way he handles difficult situations. We disapprove of the way he's trying to win us back after realizing too late that he might have done something wrong, but what he wouldn't admit. I'm deeply sorry for turning this into some psychologic review, especially as we all know that Mr. Bean should be seen as a comedic character.
Yeah, no, we do. You have some stuff going on. You have some issues you need to raise with people in your life, or people who are you're in the professional care of. 'Cause
I-
this
people
is
seeing
cat person,
Bean.
but Bean.
Yeah, people see in Bean what they need to see in themselves, I think.
Yeah.
Bean person. All right. What's your guess for the rating, Tom?
I think that's going to be a 2 out of 10.
2 out of 10. Okay.
Let's go ahead and just give that a 1, you know?
Wow.
I think they were really going hard on just wanting to be a hater.
Tom is closest. This was a 5 out of 10, which I think is kind of high.
God damn. They really left all of their... This is someone who was writing a lot of essays and then graduated uni and still has that energy in them.
Yes.
Maybe? I don't know.
Oh, there is so much of that in IMDb. And I also feel like that energy pervades Yelp reviews. People who write reviews online are often people who think that they are good writers and are not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at least Letterboxd, I feel like everyone just gravitates towards the pithy one-liner that sucks, so you don't have to read it for long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. This one is titled, There Is Only One Bean. There will only ever be one bean. Rowan Atkinson is the British version of Buster Keaton or Charlie Chaplin, the master in the 90s physical comedy. Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to skip a bit of this. It's just describing Mr. Bean. He's an oddball. It's situational comedy at its ridiculous finest. Many will find the humor to be dated. Many modern audiences who likes to multitask while watching may be frustrated because the comedy is so visually focused.
This is, again, just an old person with a problem with the younger generation, whereas the other one was like someone who has had bad relationships with men in their life. And God bless you, it's fucking easy to do because men suck, but fuck me.
But one thing can be said about this show. There can never, ever be a duplicate, reprise, sequel, prequel, origin story, or spin-off. Person who hasn't seen the cartoon.
I know.
This show is so unique, it would not survive outside its original series run. This is like a rare, delicate truffle to be enjoyed periodically, knowing that nothing can ever be quite like it.
Yes.
Would you like to guess?
The concept of what if a freak was rude can only survive within a greenhouse. It's an orchid that was
much
specifically
like a truffle,
grown.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this is an 8 out of 10. I think they're gonna leave some wiggle room in there because it's a little bit slower than modern attention spans.
Sure. Charlotte?
Okay. Let's go 7.
It's Tom once again. That was a 10 out of 10 review.
10 out of 10?
That was a 10 out of 10.
God, that was my first instinct as well. I should have listened to my heart.
Always listen to your heart, Charlotte.
Yeah, listen to that heart.
All right. This one is titled "Forgot How Good This
and
Was."
do whatever you want to either me or Libby. Sorry, just as long as I'm letting you know what to do.
If I was listening to my heart, I would have left this episode an hour ago. So let's just keep on rolling. Let's just keep going, shall we? What's the next? Libby, what's the next review?
Everybody loves Unhappy Charlotte. Unfortunately, Unhappy Charlotte is a really good character, and it is a character.
Kind of our comfort character.
Sure.
It's a
Libby.
character. It's a character. Recently revisited Mr. Bean and forgot how funny this show was. Very little dialogue, which makes Rowan Atkinson's performances even better, as a majority of the shows are physical humor rather than spoken. I did feel the quality dropped towards the last few episodes, but I think it may have been getting difficult to continually put Bean in different scenarios without getting too repetitive. According to the trivia, a theory is that he is an alien. I'm not religious, but I thought more of an angel kicked out of heaven and he's got to earn his wings to go back up. He's sent down to learn how to behave and grow up a bit. Because he is essentially a good guy, but he can be a bit of a wind-up merchant to other people. Intentionally as well.
I think
this
that's
is funny because I never actually thought of him as an alien from that. I actually always thought he was coming down from heaven because they do have the choral sounds in the background, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I always thought that too, but I don't know that I ever took it literally. Like I think it's quite obviously meant to be like, hey, this is a weird guy who has been dropped in the world, like many weird people you've met, but this didn't really happen.
Yeah.
None of this happened. This is all fake.
Mr. Bean is made up.
This is all a bunch of bullshit.
Don't worry.
Tom, what would you say that person gave it out of 10?
I reckon that's going to be a 7 out of 10. This is the most 7 out of 10 review I've heard in a while.
Okay. Charlotte?
Let's go 5.
Tom has hit the nail on the head. That was a 7 out of 10.
Whoa.
Wow.
It really sucks to be in tune with the people who review Mr. Bean on IMDb.
On IMDb, yeah. And what
Charlotte,
I really love
Yeah.
Every time you say one, Tom, I'm like, yeah, well, that's right. But it's not fun to just be
It's not
like,
fun.
I'm not fun to just. Tom just knows, so I've just gotta roll the dice and
He wrote
I hope
all
you're
of
wrong,
these.
but you never are. So here we are.
I guess in the end, I'm just too good.
Mm-hmm. The Bean Knower.
A Muddle on Legs is the title of this review. A true testament to the 90s and my childhood. Mr. Bean is a dribble of various quality sketches with some interesting and charming ideas mixed in with some obnoxious and sometimes cruel envisions. Rowan Atkinson is a marvelous and charismatic actor who breathes life and joy to his character, almost as if it was a child you want to forgive for their mischiefs. However, it's the writing for his character which ultimately lets him down, as it creates a woefully inconsistent and even conflicting persona from episode to episode. The location work, costume designs, props, and ideas propel the show, with the best episode being Mind the Baby, which portrays Bean in a manner which is altruistic and beautiful. But too often, it's him being quite nasty and even cruel to others around him with no consideration, and that is a harbinger to the terrible decisions that would plague his movie reboot.
Dude, it's funny when he's mean, and he's mean right from the start. He's like nasty and weird and trying to get away with stuff from the start. What are we purity testing Bean for?
It's very strange to watch Mr. Bean and not realize that, you know, it's like people who watch The Sopranos and think Tony Soprano is cool. You're not supposed to watch Mr. Bean and think, I wish
Right.
I was like Mr. Bean.
If only we could all be like Mr. Bean at his brightest. And
Yeah.
thank God that the dark Bean lurks there to serve a cautionary tale. I guess this is like a 6. I don't know.
Okay. Charlotte?
Let's go 3.
Tom has once again
No.
won this particular round. That was a
Please.
5
How
out
does
of
he
10.
do it?
Okay.
How does he do it? It's 5 out of 10. How does he do it, folks? Okay, this is the last one. I don't get it. I should preface this review with a personal note then that I've been a fan of British comedy since the late 70s, when the PBS station started airing episodes of Monty Python's Flying Circus and other British comedies. I immediately thought that they were far superior to what was available to us in America.
Hey,
But I-
annoying guy here. Okay.
You are right, though. But I am puzzled by Mr. Bean. It was only recently that I began watching a random episode and thought I was going to discover something I've overlooked. Not only didn't I find any of this funny, but I was becoming increasingly angry at how unfunny it was. The only sketch I found mildly, and I do mean mildly, amusing was when he brings a date to the horror movie. It's really the reactions from Matilda Ziegler that I found to give the sketch a little life. I've noticed how repetitive these sketches become. Once the main premise is established, it's just watching Bean go through his shtick. I was watching an episode of Monty Python and saw a sketch where a man, Terry Jones, is at the beach and trying to locate a place to change into his bathing suit, finding himself interrupted by something, one absurd situation after another, ending with him on stage performing a striptease. I immediately thought, this is Mr. Bean. What? No, it's not.
What?
That's Monty Python. You were talking about Monty Python. You
something's
said
up,
Monty
mate.
Python.
something's
Yeah.
up with this guy. I'm a fan of Rowan Atkinson and have seen him in other things and found him hilarious, but the popularity of Mr. Bean just eludes me. The audience laughs at everything he does. I honestly didn't even giggle. Shit, giggle.
Oh,
that's a
golly.
Libby. That's a Libby
No.
flub. That's a
Okay.
Libby
That's so
flub.
good. I didn't goggle.
I didn't giggle or chuckle at any point. I don't know if it's supposed to be an homage to the silent era comedies, but this fell flat with me.
Well, it seems like they almost got it. They were very close.
It's
They were
to
really,
unlocking-
Yeah.
really, really close.
It is really funny to be watching Mr. Bean and getting angrier and angrier with each progressive overstep of social norms. I guess this is going to be like a 4 out of 10.
Charlotte?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does sound like he wants Mr. Bean to be smart because that's what he thinks British comedy is like
Yeah.
smart guys, right?
This is the
But-
most annoying. Yeah, sorry, you continue.
Yeah, no, I'm just I'll give her a 3 on this one, sure.
Charlotte, you've got one because that was exactly a 3 out of 10.
Wow.
Wow, I got one. Would
that-
you look at that?
That baffling person who wishes Mr. Bean was more like Monty Python.
Yes, this is definitely a Blackadder fan. This is someone who
Right.
thinks that
Oh.
it's fun when a comedy knows stuff rather than it's funny when a man falls over.
Yeah, and I know Monty Python is beloved, but I think Mr. Bean makes Monty Python look like like fucking a Mr. Bean NFT. Makes it look like shit. Mr. Bean fucking shits all over Monty Python.
Absolutely. Hard agree.
Thank you.
Makes it
Thank
look
you,
like
Tom.
Mr. Bean 709, the Buckingham Palace guard, and just standing in the middle of a wonderful park.
Yeah, should also say the cartoon style, unbelievably ugly. It looks like shit.
It's hideous.
Hideous. Tom, thank you so much for coming on our show.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you
talk
for
about-
having me.
Mr. Bean, would you like to plug anything? And please do it all in the Bean voice.
Oh, I would love to. You can look at. God damn, they fucked up making him talk at any point. It's a horrid voice.
Truly.
It's just made for grunts.
You do a really good impression, though, I will say.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, check out twitch.tv/Tom Walker, and I've got a YouTube channel where some edits of that go up. Check out the Great Australian Bake Off and bigsofttitty.png at wherever you get your podcasts, which is my podcast with previous guests of the show, Demi Lardner, my wife.
Mm-hmm. And there are episodes of that podcast with both me and Libby on it as well, which you can go and find and enjoy.
That's so true.
Yes.
We do indeed have Charlotte and Libby on that
and
podcast.
Libby, I was there as well. It's a wonderful podcast. I listen to both the regular and the Patreon episodes every week, and I have a lovely time. I have a little giggle. Those are two crazy fuckers. And
It's an
we love
honor
them
to treat our friend Libby to a guggle or two.
All right, fuck you. That's
All right,
it.
fair
Episode's over. Fuck yourself.
All right. Yep. Fair
I
enough.
still need to do. Please listen to. No, Libby's giving me the hand.
Alpha Libby.
Libby's waving a hand at me.
Charlotte.
Which you would have seen if you were on our Patreon, patreon.com/what's all this then, as this is available for free in video form. But going forward, you will need to subscribe to Watch All This then to see all future episodes of Main and Finest episodes in video form. You can also send us an email to what'sallthispost@gmail.com. We're going to do a thing. Let us know if you have a British thought of the week. We thought this
please.
would be fun. Me and Libby, we've run out of British thoughts to have. So if you
Episode
guys have
10.
a British thought of the week, then please let us know. And
I
maybe we
smell
can
a
just...
retired segment in your future. If you can't get to 10 episodes
we could do it. We could do it. It's just it would be nice if some of them were from listeners.
Look,
as
there's
well.
only a finite number of horrible British sports that involve drinking and putting on a silly costume. So once we
Sure.
run out of those, we're pretty fucked.
Precisely. We're also What's All This Pod on Blue Sky and Instagram as well. So do follow us over there. And that's it.
And
now,
that's it.
now it's time for the hand wave.
Now
Now
it's
it's
time.
time to go.
Fuck out of here. Bye, guys. Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
What's all this then? What's all this then? What's Mr. Bean?